On the run, no TARDIS.
Hey.
Friends, their help. In other words, the Doctor happy. It was a long time ago. Doesn't matter which face he was wearing, they're all the Doctor to me.
Great.
So let's give it to the eyebrows.
He uses the energy wave from the android weapons to recharge the teleport bracelet, and at the exact moment he's supposed to disintegrate, he actually teleports. Hang on, that's how you did it.
Twice now.
That's how we escaped the Dalek.
They make quite a
He's trapped in
team.
the heart of the Dalek Empire. He's a prisoner of the creatures who hate him most in the universe.
Whew.
Between us and him is everything the deadliest race in all of history can throw at us.
Help me! Assist, Davros, assist!
It's not him, is it? Oh. Holy shit.
Admit it. You've all had this exact nightmare.
How much of a drop would you say that is? Can you see the bottom?
Too dark.
I was just gonna push her in. Don't lean in.
Could chuck a stone down or something.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Ah.
20 feet.
Broken ankles.
Interestingly, the Dalek word for sewer is the same as their word for graveyard.
Oh my god, that's terrifying. Terrible as well.
Because if Clara Oswald is really dead, then you better be very, very careful how you tell me.
Listen to that. The Doctor without hope. Nobody's safe now.
All the power Davros has is mine.
The Doctor gave it to me when my daughter.
Keep it talking. We need to draw it out of the lift. Help me!
Hold on. Hold on.
I hope you are grateful. Just step a little closer.
Careful, careful. Don't get in there. No. No.
Get in.
My Daleks are afflicted with a genetic defect. What defect? Respect. Mercy for their father.
Huh.
Design flaws I was unable to eliminate.
Interesting. Oh.
Are you ready to be a god?
Oh. This is gripping. The defect, though.
Is this the conscience of the Doctor or his shame? The shame that brought you here? There's no such thing as the Doctor. And I didn't come here because I'm ashamed, but a shame never hurt anyone. I came because you're sick and you asked. And because sometimes, on a good day, I'm not some old Time Lord who ran away. I'm the Doctor.
Oh.
Compassion, then. Always. Like a cancer. I hope so. It will kill you in the end. I wouldn't die of anything else. You may rely on it.
You okay?
Fine, I think.
I've seen this side before.
Okay.
Okay.
Ah.
That's a bit weird.
I love you. Those exact words. Don't ask me why.
She's trying to see if it's able to.
I love you.
Exterminate. My people are alive. They didn't die. I brought them back. I found a way. Is this true? But Gallifrey is back, and it is safe. From both of us.
Huh.
I congratulate you. Why are you saying that? A man should have a race, a people, and allegiance. I am happy for you. So happy.
Oh, was he crying? Yes. Wow. Those are really human eyes, right?
Closer. Please.
Careful, careful, careful.
Am I a good man?
Oof.
You really are dying, aren't you? Look at me. You are not a good doctor.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. This is... Wow. It's a special moment. If indeed it's legitimate, it's a special moment.
I'm not helping you. I'm helping a little boy I abandoned on a battlefield. I think I owe him a sunrise.
Is he using the doctor
Come
though?
on,
Is he manipulating
chin
him?
up. A little bit of regeneration energy.
Oh my god.
It cost me an arm or a leg somewhere down the line.
Careful, doctor.
Or I'll just be really little.
Careful. See. Ah, he got in there. God damn it, he was manipulating him.
Should be enough.
Ooh.
I thought I would have to tear you apart.
He's getting juiced up.
But as always, your compassion is your downfall. It spoke of a hybrid creature. Two great warrior races forced together to create a warrior greater than either.
Oh my god.
Is that what you ran from, Doctor? Half Dalek,
Ugh.
half Time Lord. Two.
Ah.
I know that face.
All praise Davros, creator and savior of
Da,
the
da, 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 da.
I knew exactly what you were doing and I let you do it.
Oh.
You transmitted regeneration energy into every Dalek on this planet.
Oh.
One. Moron. Second word. Sewers.
Oh.
Can I just say it's been an absolute pleasure to finally meet you.
Ah, I'll scratch his eye out.
It's you, is it? No, I mean, no offense, y'all look alike, but it is you.
Yes, it's me, I'm right here.
Clara's dead, Doctor. This is the one that killed her.
Oh.
Not listen to her. I am a Dalek. I am a Dalek.
No, he could tell
Mad
that something's
one,
off.
isn't it? I mean, it's almost like it's proud. They're all gonna die anyway. Indulge yourself, go on. Kill the Dalek. Oh, please no.
Mercy. Mercy. You shouldn't be able to say that.
Whoa.
Mercy. That word shouldn't exist in your vocabulary. How did Davros teach you to say that? Mercy.
Oh my god. Missy, eh?
Oh, look at that. Now there's a surprise.
Mercy. Run.
In a way, this is why I gave her to you in the first place. To make you see. The friend inside the enemy inside the friend.
I'm sorry, Clara. I'm so sorry.
Everyone's a bit of both. Everyone's a hybrid.
Yeah, you still gotta go back.
Your sewers are revolting. These days, I'm all about wearable technology.
No.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Seriously?
What is happening?
Oh my god.
Same old. Just the Doctor and Clara Oswald in the TARDIS.
She'll get out. She'll get out somehow.
Humanoid detected. Humanoid detected.
You know what? I've just had a very clever idea.
And Scarrow goes up once again.
No chance you're gonna tell me what's in that confession dial, I suppose.
Maybe later. Later in the series, yeah. He still has to go back.
I shouldn't have been able to say it. How did a tiny piece of mercy get into the DNA of the Daleks?
Because of something you still have to do. Yeah. Oh wow, I just got chills.
Doctor?
Be right back. Good shot. This is that defect, perhaps, right?
Come on. I'm not sure that any of that matters. Friends, enemies. So long as there's mercy.
There it is.
Always mercy.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh. All right, folks. That is some wrap up, isn't it? Oh, man. Just so satisfying. Really, really such a satisfying episode, right? Look at that. By the end of it, you've got the Doctor and Davros, young Davros at that, but hand in hand, right? Of course, Davros has got he's got the Doctor's screwdriver in his hand, and the Doctor's got the Dalek cannon in his hand, right? The one he kind of uses at the end of the last episode in the cliffhanger, doing the one thing to save my friend, right? The friend being Clara. It's a great moment, isn't it? By the end of the episode, as he realizes, how was that possible? The concept of mercy, it should not exist within Daleks. I love how at that point he clocks, oh, yeah, I suppose it's my duty to go and plant that. And you see that it kind of answers that question that it posed, right? Did Doctor have a hand in creating this monster, right? Did he create Davros on that day? The Doctor didn't create Davros. He didn't. The war created Davros. Skaro created Davros. That obsession with purity and that racial hatred created Davros. Made him the person that he is. But all of that being said, the Doctor's everlasting imprint, even if a small one, is of mercy. He did shape him in some manner. Right? And, beyond just shaping Davros, you see the actual impact of that, the most significant impact of that show up in the Daleks. And that idea, that notion of mercy, it endured long enough to survive in the recesses of the Dalek memory banks, right? And, this is a concept or idea that Davros himself considers to be a design flaw. I think he mentioned something about this respect for their father or their creator, right? It's a bit of an unknown to him. It's the one thing he could not figure out, apparently, right? And the thing is, it's not an entirely new concept. The Daleks and the idea of mercy and them being capable of asking for mercy, right? Once upon a time, River's song made a Dalek beg for mercy, right? Twice. And then she shot him, or shot it, right? So that idea actually, now it actually goes back and gives it some context as well. It makes a bit more sense now, doesn't it? But yeah, the Doctor didn't hear the Dalek beg for mercy back then, right? He heard it here for the first time. And of course, it's as Clara is just struggling and desperately trying to, get her thoughts through. So, that idea, that concept is really quite a fascinating one. Her human emotions encased within a Dalek and how the Dalek programming kind of translates that or spits it out, right? It's really quite a tense scene, isn't it? And it doesn't help that Missy is just egging the Doctor on, giving him every reason to kind of act out, lash out in anger at the prospect of his late friend, right? She keeps going on about how this Dalek specifically killed Clara, right? There's this moment, I had to kind of hold my breath as Missy goes behind the Doctor, starts, putting the cannon in his hand, or raises it up at least in his hand. He's like, do it. Give in to it, Doctor. Tap into a bit of that dark side of yours. Let it take over you. You want to do this. But, that being said, I do believe that Missy perhaps actually expected the Doctor to figure it out, ultimately. Unless I'm giving her too much credit in that moment. I just kind of felt like, okay, she's also kind of trying to see if the Doctor is going to figure this out. And I actually do think she believes the Doctor is going to figure it out. And she knows the Doctor inside and out. But I suppose there's that small possibility or that notion of, let's see, let me see if something interesting can happen here. And I'm speaking of Missy at that point, right? And there's even this big thematic message that Missy kind of puts out there, or the big thematic statement, right? It's an interesting one, isn't it? It's the whole reason I gave you Clara in the first place, right? Because there is an enemy in the friend and a friend in the enemy, right? As she looks over. Listen, man, Missy is just, she's a star. That character is a star, a standout. I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy to have her be part of this cast. Now, again, you know, once again, it's a bit of an unknown if she survived. She survived. Come on. You know, and I love how at this point, even I'm accepting, it doesn't matter how. It's just how it is. But, you know, the really interesting thing here is that they didn't give Davros a definitive death either. You know, at one point of this episode, I thought it actually could be the best time, the best death for Davros, right? But then, of course, that scene also gets flipped on its head. And I'll get to that. I think the standout moment, the standout scene of this episode is the two-hander. It's just a conversation. The Doctor and Davros, right? My God, it's masterful, right? Masterful acting on display from both of them. Capaldi, of course. My God, I love Capaldi so much in this episode. But again, you'll have to forgive me. I don't know the name of the actor who is portraying Davros. But yeah, he goes toe-to-toe, doesn't he? Right? It's not as if Capaldi steals the scene altogether. It took two to tango in that scene, to elevate that scene to almost legendary status, in my opinion, at least. You know, it's one of those standout moments, right? It's a core Doctor Who moment, in my opinion, right? And of course, alongside that, I see a few other definitive, you know, Capaldi Doctor moments. More Capaldi Doctor core moments are created in this episode. As all of us know, it's not easy to act or emote under all of those prosthetics, under all of that makeup, right? He looks like an alien. He looks like a monster. Davros, that is, right? A pitiful one at that. But, you know, the way he was able to kind of even steal some of those scenes under all of those prosthetics, yeah, you just have to give him a lot of credit for that. Really quite impressive. And I'll look up the name of the actor. I think it's possible that that some of you might have mentioned it back in the day, a few seasons ago, a few series ago. And listen, even if it ended up being crocodile tears, right? That moment, he opens his own eyes, right? I'm not sure if that is in line with the lore, if he's able to do that, or if he should be able to do that. But regardless of that, I thought that was such a, oh my God, that is such an effective touch. Again, even if it isn't the real deal, you know, those tears, those really human eyes, it's crazy how almost instantly he goes from this monster, this alien, right? Repulsive even. You know, I feel a little bit bad saying that, but I feel like that is by design, you know, his design, the character design. The moment those eyes open up, there's a beauty in there. There's this idea of there being this lost person in there. And you kind of get a glimpse to his soul through those eyes. The eyes are actually really quite beautiful, aren't they? You know, you kind of get a look at that young Davros, right? I thought that's the imagery that was kind of playing out in my mind as I see those eyes open up, right? It's crazy. Just the moment those eyes open, it humanizes him, right? And instead of this repulsive monster, it shifts to him being more of a pitiful, dying old man. I had pity at that moment for him, right? That being said, you know, it kind of gets snatched almost immediately. I mean, those scenes are really quite effective. And by those scenes, I mean the conversations that are going on. You know, it's reminiscent of something like De Niro and Pacino in Heat and the diner scene, right? It has a gravitas. It feels special. You know, a great exploration of these arch enemies or nemesis that are never going to see eye to eye, that are never going to be able to understand each other because of these distinct ideologies. Yet they are brought together here in this scene as equals almost, more so than they would like to admit, right? There's some crossover you can just see as this gripping conversation is playing out, there's some crossover there, right? Just a bit. And you know, that moment as he does begin to cry as he hears about Gallifrey, and of course, name drop Gallifrey. Name drop is always exciting, and you know, it remains to be seen how it's going to play a part, if it's playing a part in this series. I'm going to go ahead and assume it is going to be coming into play at some point in this series, especially that it is dropped here specifically in front of Davros, right? Listen, ultimately, it ends up being an act on both ends. But, you know, that doesn't mean that these really complex characters didn't mean some of these things that they're saying. You know, they are capable of putting some truth in there, in these moments, right? I believe it's nuanced. I don't think it's as simple as, oh, it's a fake out. I didn't mean any of the things I just said. I think on both ends, even if it was a fake out, and even if you know, the Doctor is 2 steps ahead anyways, and kind of saw it coming, and kind of plays into it, right, to kind of actually get access to those cables, right, and his regeneration energy. And then let's not forget that Davros has some regeneration energy in him. So is that going to play a part the next time? The inevitable reappearance of Davros at some point, is it going to play a part? You know, they even brought up this notion of the hybrid, Time Lord and Dalek. You know, Dalek Lord or Time Dalek. I was just kind of, you know, spitballing some names. But yeah, you know, that's more setup for perhaps the rest of the series. The potential of this hybrid. Even Missy, you know, as she is talking about enemy and a friend and friend and an enemy, at the end of the day, everyone's a bit of both. Everyone's a hybrid, right? So let's put a pin in that for sure. You know, exciting setup there, right? And then, you know, there's even this possibility that it could retroactively kind of relate to the Doctor's, I don't know, departure from Gallifrey, right? Him fleeing from Gallifrey. They've kind of done that. You know, they've kind of gone back and given perhaps new meaning or attached new meaning to past events. And listen, you know, I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. Even, you know, even I'm going to be a bit, you know, skeptical for sure. You know, let's see how it all plays out, if it actually is a bigger deal in this series. Listen, I could be reading it wrong or understanding it wrong, but they are implying that, you know, this new concept that they've brought up in this episode about the hybrid actually relates to the Doctor's past and him fleeing Gallifrey as well. You know, feel free to clear that up for me in the comments if I'm reading it wrong. There's a chance I might be kind of mixing it up. So yeah, even if it is this intricate game of narrative chess, and the Doctor has already kind of anticipated and established quite an effective counter to anything Davros might be trying to pull off here, I still believe that both of these are complex enough characters that even if they are trying to manipulate each other, they are able to reveal genuine aspects of themselves in these moments, in these really rare moments. It's like a once in a lifetime type thing that's going on here, that's at play here. You know, it is actually giving both of them a chance to slip in a bit of truth, some of their real thoughts, right? They go so far back. So in that sense, they actually perhaps know each other more so than most, right? You know, that aspect of Davros reacting to the return of Gallifrey or finding out that he saved Gallifrey somehow, it brought him to tears, right? Because I think even if most of it might be an act, I think that aspect of it really did get him. I think. You know, please feel free to give me your thoughts on it, but I think that there is that, I don't know, not empathy, but I think there is that understanding on Davros's part about the lonely nature of the Doctor's existence, right? Without his people. I think he can relate because Davros himself is so dead set on protecting his own kind, right? Even if it is based in, you know, hatred, racial hatred, and, you know, obsessions with purity and all that, a pure race, right? I think he reminds them there as well, you know, protect them at all costs. Protect your own at all costs. I really like that aspect of it, right? So I'm choosing to believe there is nuance there. It's not just a good old fake out altogether. Because sometimes the best lies are the ones that have a bit of truth mixed in, sprinkled in. And I believe that is the case here. But my goodness, I've got to say, I think I saw yet another core Capaldi Doctor moment. Perhaps Capaldi at his finest in this moment. And it's honestly so endearing, right? He is so sure of this. And I'm speaking of that scene of him acknowledging his compassion. There's no big speech, right? There's no ranty big speech. It's not larger than life, right? Those are also great moments, right? They have their place in Doctor Who. But here, it is just so effective. He demonstrates his absolute belief in the virtue of compassion by acknowledgement, right? And he's so at peace in that moment, right? So content, right? Hell, he even hopes that he's consumed by compassion. And, that could potentially be his end. He embraces that possibility. On a good day, if I try hard enough, I'm not just some old Time Lord. I am the Doctor, right? And if the Doctor is an ideal that even the man himself aspires to be, then there are days when even he's not able to live up to that, right? And that's okay. That's okay. Everyone has bad days. Doesn't mean that he stops trying. Even the Doctor can have a bad day, right? So I just love how in tune he is with himself in that moment. He's so content, so open about his thoughts in that moment. Capaldi, my goodness, how could you not love Capaldi as a Doctor at this point? And then, of course, going back to Clara inside of the Dalek casing. This is the third time I've seen Clara as a Dalek, or at least inside of a Dalek, right? Going all the way back to the first appearance as Oswin. Dalek ends up being a Dalek. Then I've seen her into the Dalek much more recently, right? Miniature Clara and friends and Doctor inside of a Dalek, right? There in the conclusion of that episode, in the conclusion, right? You have a Dalek tell the Doctor that he could make a good Dalek, or you are a good Dalek. Now you see it kind of flipped here. You see that something that is kind of looked at as a defect, compassion, mercy, is something that is really quite inherent to the Doctor as well. So now it's flipped. They also carry an attribute that could be attached to the Doctor, much like how the Doctor could be a good Dalek, right? But though that's not the same Doctor anymore. Let's make that clear. That Doctor and the Doctor I'm seeing now, there's been a lot of growth, right? That's one of the standout components of Series 8. There's a lot of growth. I'm seeing the Doctor trying to come to terms with the type of person he is. You see that Davros asked him quite a poignant question, something he can really quite relate to, something he himself is going through or was going through really recently. Am I a good man? Hell, they even share a joke. It's actually quite a wholesome moment. You cannot tell me that Davros is putting on a performance at that point. He's a damn good actor if all of this is just for the show to trick the Doctor. But again, I don't believe it. I believe there is some truth in there. And I think that moment they shared, as they both laugh at that joke about him not being a good Doctor, being the only thing that is clear at this point, it's a lovely moment. But then speaking of Clara and Missy, and the title of this episode specifically as well, The Witch is Familiar. My God, how much fun is those two? How much fun is that duo together? Missy's unhinged, dark mirror to the Doctor, perhaps. And then you've got Clara. Listen, Jenna Coleman is just a great actor. She just has chemistry with everyone. And again, let's give credit to Michelle Gomez as well. Those two together. I just think she has such screen presence, right? I find myself laughing out loud at some of these antics and just the delivery of the dialogue, the facial expressions. It's one of the best additions in Doctor Who in a long time, I'd say. Missy. Listen, man, I'd love to see Missy and Clara team up once again, or, you know, kind of be put in a position that has them teaming up once again. Yeah, it's a riot. It really is. It's so much fun to see them together. Yeah, you know, Missy doesn't make it easy for Clara. She doesn't. And of course, there is also the confession dial. Yeah, you know, it's going to continue, isn't it, throughout this series? Yeah, it's a great episode. You know, it's more than a great episode. It's a fantastic episode. One of the greats, I'd say. And then as a whole, there's this lovely message of compassion and mercy, or having compassion and mercy, right? Even in the face of horror, right? It's a beautiful touch, I think. And yeah, I really liked the Doctor going back. You know, I'll be honest, I actually expected more time spent with young Davros. I just kind of assumed that might be part of this episode. But yeah, folks, fantastic wrap up to the opening two-parter, Series 9. And, you know, the exciting thing is I'm actually doing a double header today, recording session, that is. So I'm going to the next episode right after this. So exciting, you know, it's a nice day for sure. But yeah, if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you're interested in full length, timer-based full length, of course, or perhaps even early access to the next episode right now, consider checking out the Patreon page. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Ooh, losing my voice now. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.